Good morning, guys. It is Monday, September 30th, 2024. This Bathrobe business. I got the coffee and I got the news. So I didn't have a video on Friday. The reason was the only real story I felt was worth talking about was PCE data. And I didn't want to do an entire video just on that, seeing how the report was fairly uneventful. However, I do want to jump into it now because I do have other stories to talk about, but let's start off with PCE. So let me share my screen with you guys real quick. So everybody's excited because PCE data came in below or at expectations. I can't even remember. Lower than expected. So everybody's happy. Oh, inflation is falling. This is so great. And they talk about a number of things. Oh, this is down this much. This is down this much. However, they kind of bury the lead. And there's one paragraph in this story that talks about it. The progress in August came despite continued pressure from housing-related costs, which increased 0.5% on the month, the largest move since January. So this isn't new. We've seen continued rise in housing costs in every single report of inflation for the last several months. Even as overall inflation has fallen, it has fallen in the face of rising housing costs, which, if let's be honest, is greatly one of the first indicators of inflation and also the stickiest, not to mention is the one that's most affected by interest rates. It affects mortgages, it affects rent costs, it affects everything in the housing market. So despite the fact that interest rates are being cut and inflation is falling, housing is still going up at a very alarming rate. This is already when we're having an unaffordability crisis in the United States in both rents and mortgages, and that this is here in the face of it. So this is why I still stand by my idea of that interest rates should never have been cut to begin with. We should have been actually probably raising them. I know I'm a hawk when it comes to this, but I don't see any justification when literally the housing market is in a dire situation with the cost of living continually increasing. So that's really the only thing I draw from this story. Everything else to me is supply chain. I mean, everything else can be affected greatly, like supply chain. Like, for example, let's talk about the port strike that goes into effect tonight. So tonight is when the ports from Maine all the way down to, I believe, Texas. It's the entire Gulf Coast goes on strike. It's something like 30,000 workers. It's going to end up costing something about $5 billion a day. That's going to have powerful inflationary pressures because it's an interruption in supply chain. That will stabilize after that strike ends, hopefully. But it's not something that's sticky like housing is. Now, there's still been no update on what happens tonight. There has not been a deal reached yet. I do believe that the government will step in at some point because the Biden administration does have authority to bust up this strike. I think one way or another that's going to happen because it's too much of a liability, especially with an election coming. But I don't know when or where or how that's going to happen. Next story I want to talk about is let's talk about this one real quick. So this is kind of a story that probably everybody is sleeping on, but it's DirecTV to acquire rival Dish Network I don't remember what the amount was, but a $20 billion debt deal. Now, this is kind of a minor story because everybody's cutting the cord. However, I will say, I think within the next 10 years, we're going to have a tipping point where the cost of streaming is going to equal the cost of cable. I think that's inevitable because every streaming service is constantly raising prices. I started canceling services because I think HBO Max raised their price to $20 a month. And I never watch HBO Max, mainly because there's nothing to watch on HBO Max. And so I started canceling. But a lot of people, as these prices are going to increase between Netflix, Hulu, and you have to have multiple streaming services because there just isn't enough content that's watchable. A lot of these companies will fill their platform with content that you're not interested in. In order to have content that's watchable, you have to have multiple streaming services. Well, at a certain point, you're going to face a decision where the cost of streaming is equal to the cost of cable. But the value add of cable, the fact that you get so many different networks, so many different channels, especially as millennials are aging and starting families, I think that's going to be a powerful motivator to actually cause an equilibrium between traditional cable and streaming services. Now, there does need to be some tech upgrades, I feel like, from companies like DirecTV and Dish. I guess it will be just DirecTV at this point. I feel the tech is a little bit still antiquated, so it's not a guarantee. But if they can figure out the tech a little bit, go a little bit more Fire Stick instead of a big bulky streaming unit or cable box, whatever they're called. I think that they could be a powerful rival to traditional streaming because you'll have hundreds of channels versus a single channel for just one streaming service at almost the same cost. So I think this story, while not very influential or important right now, within 10 years could become a moment where we look back and say, oh, this was the turning point for cable. Next story I want to talk about is EVs. So in a move that I think is almost entirely obvious and was going to happen regardless of what happens in the market, Ford is giving away free charging units. Now, traditionally, charging units are not free when you buy EVs. You have to pay for the unit and the install. But because EV sales are slumping, Ford is going to give new buyers a free charging unit and free installation in an industry first. I think this is also going to set the benchmark for other EVs to follow because one of the primary motivators of one of the primary barriers of going with an EV is how are you going to charge it? That seems to be the biggest barrier because people are worried about mileage. I am actually currently in this situation. I'm looking for a new car, and my brother, who is a fantastic car expert, you should check out his channel, Shwazy. He knows more about cars than anyone else on the market in YouTube. But he recommended I go EV. And I said, I don't want to go EV because it's a hassle to get a charging station. I got to get an electrician. My house, it doesn't have the best electrical grid. It's 1959. It's an older house. I don't want to deal with the hassle. However, if the hassle is on Ford to come in and install it for you, I'm starting to second guess myself. Maybe it is worth going with a Mach-E, which is a fantastic vehicle. And now you've just eliminated a barrier to entry by giving me free install of a charging unit. And I think this is going to set the standard. I think Tesla is going to have to go with this one way or another. Hyundai as well, which is, I think, the third largest EV sales in the United States, maybe even second after Tesla, is going to have to go with this, I feel like, as well. One way or another, I feel like this is going to become an industry standard. Last story I want to talk about. This one affects us here in Utah. So Utah is, let me share the article. So Utah's share of population living below the poverty level is rising. So this is the first time in almost 10 years. So let me share the chart properly. So share of population living below the poverty level has been dropping since about 2012, which makes sense because this was still recovery from the Great Recession. 2008 was the crash, but up until 2012, everybody was still feeling it. Then that number started decreasing. Of course, COVID happened. There was stimulus. But then now we are at not a record level, but we are at a steady increase in the levels of poverty all across Utah. Now, why this is concerning, we already have housing issues here in Utah. We already have a homelessness issue with Utah. So while this isn't a major bump, a small bump can mean a catastrophic cascade when you already have two other issues that are major forces in the market. So this isn't something that should be looked at, with a side eye. This should be looked at with great attention. Being in the business sector, I can tell you that when there's certain indicators you look at and certain indicators that don't matter. Some fluctuations in production will happen year to year. Some months will be busier than others. But there are trends you look at with heavier weight than others. Part of it is like reviews. Are your reviews becoming more negative? Are they becoming more positive? If we're seeing in our businesses a bunch of negative reviews, we know something horrible is happening, even if our production is high. Because if those negative reviews are coming in when they never did, that means we're doing something wrong. Another one is we do have an ability to estimate how many new customers we get. If we see that number starting to fall, we become concerned. And I feel like this is one of those indicators the government should be paying attention to is poverty level, because this is one of those things that can sneak up on you and then become exponentially bad like we see in California and multiple states across the United States. So this is one we do need to keep an eye on. I will try to give you guys updates as these come. This data is really from the Census Bureau from last year. So this number could be higher. I was not able to find official numbers currently from the state. But as of last year, the poverty level in Utah is growing. That's pretty much it. Those are the stories of the day. I will see you guys back here tomorrow. There is a jobs report coming out later this week. So we will report on that. I think that's on Wednesday. I think it's the ADP numbers on Wednesday and then the true Labor Department jobs on Friday. So I will report those as they come. I hope you guys have a productive Monday and a productive week. I'll see you tomorrow.